Hi, everyone, and welcome to this energetic arts training session. Tonight's topic is acknowledgement of your manifestations, allowing and receiving. So, just let me know that you're here and that the sound's working fine. And like I need to, because of the world we live in, hey guys, is you need to know that this is my interpretation, representation, my art form. You should always do your own research and check things out for yourself. Don't take anybody's word for what comes out of people's mouth, including my own. Make sure you look into it yourself, make up your own mind, be your own master. And if you ever need help with any of this stuff, always reach out, seek out a good practitioner, ask for help. All those things to look after yourself. Make sure you're doing things safely and in a way that's going to be right for you. So, today's topic, acknowledgement of your manifestations, allowing and receiving. I'm going to take a little bit of a different spin on things this time. And what I mean by that is when we get into manifesting, the secret and law of attraction and all that sort of stuff, there's this underlying premise that from wherever you are, you have to do things in order to put in a lot of effort in order to create what you want in your life. And it's this place of not having and not being to having and becoming. And so there can be a lot of stress and anxiety and confusion and uncertainty and doubt that comes up with this kind of method. Even though it will work, I think there's a much easier way, and that is to realize and acknowledge that your manifestations are already happened. They've already happened somehow. And so they might not turn up in the way that you expect. Like you might be going, I want a Ferrari, I want a Ferrari, I want a Ferrari. And then you come out of your manifestation meditation and you're still driving the Toyota. Okay. So, so it's not quite what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that, these things that we want to manifest, these things that we put out there into the universe to bring towards us, with the mind that we create that desire with, that is always the mind that we need to leave behind to get to a new mind where that manifestation is already present. Okay, you've already got it. And so, for example, the person who wants the red Ferrari, it might not actually be that they're trying to manifest the car itself. They might be trying to manifest a whole host of other things, namely a certain feeling or a certain state of being. Now, if you can really get deep on this and work out what it is look at what you're manifesting and then ask yourself, why am I wanting to manifest this? What is it in my life that I feel like I don't have in order to desire this? What is it that I'm wanting? What hole is it trying to fill? And so if you can start to work all these sorts of things out for yourself, then the manifestation process becomes a lot easier, because now you're not so caught up in the method or the objects or the certain situations, events, people in your life to come to you. Now you can go straight for the emotion, straight for the state of being. And obviously, when you get into the right state of being, your reality reflects what state of being you're in by drawing things to you that you are desiring to create. And so, for example, the person who wants to get the Ferrari, by the time they actually get the Ferrari, they don't care that they have the Ferrari, because the Ferrari, as the example, all it was a target to hone the mind and the body and the energy all into a specific energetic signature, a particular frequency, a state where not only can they attract or align with the potential realities that are already present in the multidimensional universe concept, but they can also become aware of a whole new level of being, a whole new way of how life works. And so when we move from a Newtonian physics, third dimensional reality, linear timeline idea of life, and we move into a fifth dimensional multi-timeline reality, just to use, some frames to work within, the rules of physics shift. Okay, so things that are impossible on a third dimensional plane suddenly become possible, and not just possible, but they become a potential, and then if they're a potential, they become a. And so when we shift our mindset from this third dimensional, mass meets mass world, and where we have to, put a thought out there, we get the object or the event or the situation that we're desiring, but we have a much broader understanding of the world. And so a little way of illustrating this, and because, you probably heard me mention a lot of movie references, a bit of a movie buff, a bit of a movie fan. I want to bring your attention back to these movies that we've all seen before with a common theme, and that's the thriller theme, or the mystery movie, where you as the viewer, you watching the main character go through this story, just like we go through this story of transitioning and moving from one state of being into another. Like, this character does an arc from the start of the film through until the finish. And what happens is, as a viewer, a lot of the time we're getting carried along on this story, and we're not really sure exactly what's going on. We're sort of trying to get familiar with the world, and we're getting familiar with the characters, and we're trying to figure out what the plot line is, and we're only privy to a certain amount of information, and these things happen, and you just sort of not really notice them, and all of a sudden, like two-thirds through the movie, 3/4 through the movie, you're still trying to work out what the hell is going on, and your brain is trying to calculate and follow all these possibilities, and then finally, if it's a really good film with a really good storyline and good acting and good direction, then there comes this point where you have the great reveal. And it's like in those heist movies, how, in, for example, Ocean's 11, where, they finally get in and they steal the loot, and then they make their way out of it, and then they're reflecting back and they're showing you how it was all done. And throughout the entire movie, they were showing you what they were doing to build up to this big climax. And but because you're not in a mindset of knowing, because you don't have the key, all you're looking at is the encrypted code, then it's not until the very end of the film where they do all this reflection, they show you all the little pieces, and it all adds up and the whole picture makes sense, and you get the big reveal. And then you go, oh, wow, that was fantastic. Like, how clever was that? How intelligent, how well thought out. And so, often when we start in this game of manifesting, we just go, oh, I just want this thing because I want it. And then you meditate on it and you picture it, and you do your affirmations, for example, and um, you try and draw this thing into your reality. But from another perspective, um, and this is where it gets, on a more of a skilled level, a more of a mastery level, is that people who are really manifesting things into their life with precision and accuracy and skill, they think this whole way through. They don't just think about getting the object or the scenario or the situation. They think about what it would be like once they have it. What it would be like, a week, a month, a year after they've obtained that and manifested that desire. Who are they becoming? What are they doing now? How is it shaping their life? What kind of effect is it having on their environment, on other people in their environment? So, thinking this all the way through and, holding that focus is a very big key. And so when I started doing manifesting, it was all about obtaining and acquiring things. And then after you get, you sort of fumble through and you start getting little wins here and there, after you start to realize, okay, this is more of an art form. And it's not so much about manifesting, this object or that object or this little thing or that huge thing. It's all about doing this and learning the skill of doing this. So, you still with me on this? Or is my just sort of, does it sound like I'm rambling a little bit? Excuse me. So, what I'm going to get you to do now is I'm going to get you to do a bit of an exercise where you can get a more of a clear picture of what I'm talking about. And so, if you're here at this event and you're looking at this, or this kind of work has attracted you, then obviously there's something or some things that you want to bring into your life. And so you've probably got a very clear picture. I hope you have a very clear picture of what those things or that thing is. And so you've probably been putting yourself into a state of dimensionalization, visualization, fantasy, imagining this thing happening to you or having this thing, and you've been tuning your energy into that, which is great. The problem with that is that when you come back to your real world, and it's not there and it hasn't happened to you, then you're like, oh, okay, well, it's a bit like the kid waiting for their bicycle for Christmas. It's like, am I going to get it? Am I not going to get it? Are my parents going to get this for me, or are they not? Is God going to bring it to me, or is he, she not going to bring it to me? And so I want you to sort of get out of this, leave this mindset to the side. You can always go back to it. And I want you to try on a different mindset. And so what I'm going to get you to do now is just go into a bit of a relaxed state. I'll put some music on. I'm just going to talk you through this, and then I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to show you how your subconscious mind, if you really relax and tap in, is going to start to give you all the clues that you need to really grasp this concept. So just relax, get comfortable. If you have blindfolds, you can put them on now. Or not, it's up to you. As long as you can go inside your mind and start to see that thing that you're trying to manifest, that you want to bring into your reality. And so just begin to hold the focus of that object, that state, that situation. And instead of going to the end when you've already got it, because as you know, that's already a future potential, and dwell there for just a moment so you can lock in the energy frequency. I want you to leave part of your awareness there and bring part of your awareness back to the present moment, into the time-space dimension that you're currently in. And as you do this, while also maintaining part of your focus in the future potential that you're wanting to create, it's very obvious that you can see the gap between the reality now and the potential reality of the future that you're creating or aligning with. More to the point, and as you've been focusing on that potential future while being in the present moment now, you can completely release all the doubt, the confusion, the frustration of whether you will or will not end up at your desired outcome. And just imagine for a moment that, like in the scenario of that heist movie, that mystery film, that action thriller, that not only this moment right now, but all of the moments leading up to this moment now, whether they look that way or not, are all directing you towards that future potential. Where you can align with that person, thing, state, or event. And just like in the film, we're halfway through, 2/3 through, 3/4 through, almost just before the very end. Half the fun of that film, seeing that film, is having no idea what's going on or how it's all going to happen. In fact, all that suspense, all that not knowing, is half the fun. And you may even ask yourself the question, if I knew exactly how it would turn out, would I still go through with it? Because the question comes from there, is it really the thing that I'm looking for? Or is it the excitement of being able to create it? So look around in your life now. Look around through your mind, through your memories, through those seemingly boring and insignificant moments that, just like in the film, were the Easter eggs that you missed, that you'll only pay attention to at the time of the big reveal. And instead of wondering whether it will or won't happen, try to relax and know that it will. And maybe engage with that higher mind in that game of hide and seek, cat and mouse, cloak and dagger, and see if you can figure out the plot line on how you might end up in that timeline, inevitably, without any effort at all. And perhaps all those moments where you thought you were being rejected, slowed down, maneuvered and redirected away from what you thought you wanted. Those were the actual things that propelled you forward towards it. So can you let go, allow, and receive your new future? And can you enjoy the ride? And can you allow yourself to learn in new ways and experience new directions that perhaps you've never explored before? Can you allow the process to change and evolve you? To upgrade and enlighten you? To levels of reality that are yet unperceived. Just let go and allow yourself to be surprised. Allow your doubt to be shattered. And let relaxation take the place of confusion, fear, and insecurity. Can you see how where you are now is right on course? Can you see the path? Can you see who you are becoming? Notice how when you just relax into it, maybe you need to go further beyond, further into the future in time, further out than you would have thought that you needed to go in the beginning. Well after and beyond all those things have arrived into your life. And Feel how relaxed you are now that it's already done. And from that place, can you look back at the present moment just as you would one of those old, familiar photographs from the past? And can you remember how much fun you had getting to your manifestation? Learning all those new skills, overcoming all those seemingly insurmountable challenges. That now maybe seem easy and normal. And can you see from this point in time to your present point in time how the whole stage was already set, the characters and the plot? And it's like you can reflect back to that favorite movie where you saw it for the first time and remembered how excited you were to not know what was going to happen. So bring all those insights with you back to this present point in time. Bring all that awareness back with you now. All those insights, all those different points of view, all those little clues and all those Easter eggs. And bring them all the way back to this point in time. Become aware of your body. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay, and just let me know when you're back. How do you feel? Did you notice anything new? Or something that was already there that you didn't see before? It's a bit like when you watch the movie the second time round you enjoy it hopefully just as much, or if not more, but in a slightly different way because you're slightly aware of what's going on. You don't have to try and figure things out. So are we back? Just let me know in the chat you're back. You're ready to go again. Cool. All right, so I'm going to give you a little challenge here, a little test. Now, just relax. It's not about, you're not going to get graded or anything. But I'm just going to give you an image. It's a pretty common image. And we're just going to, cool. We're just going to see if through a really subtle, no effort suggestion, can you rest your focus on something really quickly in just a moment, and can you be aware and acknowledge when it shows up, and acknowledge it for a manifestation rather than just a coincidence, or you getting all loving, lighting and fluffy and trying to make it out that it was your manifestation. So I'll give you an example just before I do this. I was at a party once, and I was with a girlfriend at the time, and she was an events manager, and she'd just gotten back from running a major event in North Queensland, and we were at a party, and I said to her, how'd it go? She says, oh, I've got these photos that went really well. Check this out. We had this there, and the lighting, and it was in a big marquee tent, and we had hundreds of people around all this table. And she showed her phone to me, and it had the picture of the event room, and I just was like, oh yeah, cool, whatever. Back to the party, and I'd forgotten about it. Anyway, several years go past, and I'd forgotten all about it. Like there was one of those throwaway moments, and I was at an event, and I remember thinking, geez, it would be great to have an event like that, or to run events like that, or be going to those types of events. And anyway, years go by, and I end up going to North Queensland for a workshop, and I have this great event. I have meet all these great people, learn all this cool stuff, and practice all this cool stuff. And right in probably day 3 of the event, I'm looking around, and I'm, just chatting with people and mingling and having a good time. And then it's like I got slapped in the face, and I was just awestruck because I looked around, and I went, hang on a minute, I'm actually in the marquee from that photo that I saw for like 3 seconds years ago, and I put the thought out there and just left it. It was like tossing a seed into the garden bed and just forgetting about it, and then 4 years later it's a tree and it's dropping fruit on the ground, and you didn't even have to do anything for it. And so I'd like you to have this type of experience, and I know that once you've had it once, manifesting is going to become a lot of a different game to you. So I've got these coasters on my table, and they've all got little messages on them, little positive messages to keep me on track from time to time. And I just randomly picked this one up now, and it's kind of really cool because it's got some images on there, and it says, go where your dreams take you. And so I'm going to show you this picture, and I want you to take a quick snapshot of it in your mind, and then just put it in a file that you label manifestations, and then put the file away. Make sure you can retrieve it in your mind when you want it, but just forget about it. Don't worry about it. Go about your daily life. Go back to manifesting whatever it is you want to manifest, and doing whatever practices and training on your tools and techniques. But when this image pops up in your reality, I don't want you to discount it. I want you to acknowledge your manifestation and allow yourself to receive the feeling of knowing that you created this, or that you aligned with this, or that you tuned in. You allowed your brain and your body and your energy to tune into this possibility. So I'm going to show you the picture now. If you got your notepad, just to solidify it, make it a bit more real, draw a picture or write down what the image is to you in whatever details. Doesn't really matter. Just make some kind of mark, and then you're going to put it away. Okay, so here's the image. Focus on it, take it all in, relax, and it's gone. So don't underestimate the power of this exercise. I've done this many times with many people, and I just pick random stuff, and people freak out when this stuff shows up to them. They're like, oh my God. People actually take photos of this and send me the photos when they see it show up in their reality. One person I was working with, she's like, I don't know what to manifest. I said, all right, let's pick something random that's just so weird that it's really unlikely for you to create and draw to you, or it's not going to just show up, obviously, like it's not very common. And I said, let's pick a purple dragon. It's not even real. Pick a purple dragon. We did the session. She got off the phone with me, and not even 4 hours later, she was sending me texts. Oh my God, you're not going to look at this. Showed me the photo. She said, I was with my boyfriend down at the park, and I told him about the session, and he pointed out the purple dragon, and here's the photo of it. And it's like, well, that's next level, because now you're transferring your manifestation skills onto other people. And so she was pretty chuffed by that. She thought that was pretty cool. So I'm just going to pause there for a moment, let that settle in, have a quick drink. If you have any questions about this, let me know. Or if you want to get a bit more tuned in on something, go over any part of that, let me know. So kind of a weird feeling when you know that you can tune into anything. Obviously because some things are a bit trickier, they involve more complexity. It's going to maybe take a little bit more time, or a bit more focus on your tools and your skills in order to create those things. It's a bit like, how would I put it? So I knew this guy, a young guy. I would call him prodigy. When he came into my circle, he was 19, 20, and he was looking at getting into the circus arts. So he would go to this school in Melbourne, and he was only doing a certificate, you know, to get his certificate to be able to become a performer, to be able to do circus arts and corporate events and things like that. And he would have been one of those guys doing acrobats or handstands or things like that. That's my point exactly, right? So he showed me an image of something I've already seen in my future. Well, there you go. Like, so the whole point is that it's already there, right? You just got to tune, just got to become aware and acknowledge it when it pops up. I'll come back to the other story, but when I was getting into these manifestation practices, um, and I was doing them consistently, it was getting to the point where my practice used to be I would select something, and in this case it would be animals, and I would draw a picture or write them down, and then I would focus on the image, and then I'd let it go, and then I'd go about my day and travel and do whatever I needed to do, and it would start showing up in my field all over the place. And each time I did a new animal, it's not like the old ones stopped. I'd still see the old ones showing up and the new ones. And it got to the point where I was seeing like all these animals that I've been manifesting everywhere. And it was getting so quick each time, like it would only take a few hours or a few days to manifest the next animal. I remember I was in Iceland and I decided to manifest a wolf. And I thought, yeah, I'll do a wolf. Chances of me seeing a wolf out here really slim, a live wolf anyway. And I thought, okay, when I get back to my hotel, I'll draw a picture of a wolf and I'll start focusing on manifesting the wolf. And as soon as I had that thought, I started to walk out of the store with all the postcards and everything. And I went to look out the window back to the direction of the hotel, and there was this huge tin statue of a silhouette of a wolf in the window. I'm like, well, I can't even get to the point where I'm writing it down, where it's already showing up in my field. And so it can happen that quickly. And this is one of the points is I want you to acknowledge when this happens and how quickly it can happen. From being able to see it in your mind and have it manifest out in your field. It can happen very, very quickly with simple things. However, going back to the more complex things, the things that maybe we're having trouble with, going back to the story of this young guy that I was training with, he was doing circus arts, and his course was only like 4 hours twice or three times a week, I think. They do a bit of theory, a bit of training, and then the whole gym was open to them, the rest of the week. And most kids, most of the kids doing that, or kids, most of the young people doing that would just do their hours and they do a bit of training and then they go, or maybe they do an extra class, a fitness class, whatever, and then they go home and go to their other jobs and whatever else. And then there was another group that would stay on a lot more. And then there was this guy, and he would just, from the time that place opened to the time it closed, pretty much, he was in there training on whatever he could and taking on whatever new skills he could. And so I wasn't really teaching him anything in terms of movement in my classes with him. He actually came to me for a bit of healing and to help him unwind and relax his mind and muscles and body. But he would come in and he would come to class and he would still be on the high of training at the gym, and he would be practicing all these different movements. And so I was really fortunate enough to see his development from going from seeing a new move demonstrated and then practicing it and being really crap at it, to within a very short period of time, between 1 to 3 weeks to a couple of months, he would be nailing these incredibly, complex, lots of strength, lots of technique movements like planche push-ups and, front salts and double back salts on trampolines. It was just, this guy was just phenomenal, and he probably still is. And just to see how quickly his body was adapting the whole time too, because he was totally immersed. He was totally immersed, and he was being it. And I distinctly remember there was a time where he went from being this new trainee that was just trying to get everything landing, trying to lock it all down, to it just all of a sudden clicked in, and he went from being this new guy who had lots of potential to being the guy that everyone was coming to help, to get help to refine their technique and to learn where maybe not so much the shortcuts were, but maybe to stay on the beam and not get distracted into and fall off into these little wormholes and things like that. So, like I was saying, that some of these things, these complex manifestations, are going to take a little bit longer to lock in. But when they do, it levels you up to a whole new baseline, and from there you can explore a bunch more potentials. Just like my friend, this prodigy, circus arts performer. Each time he got a new trick down, it's not just he got a new trick down, his body got stronger, he got more flexible, he got more coordinated, his brain body connection became even stronger, his energy got even bigger. And so each time he got a new trick, it allowed him to have access to more and more tricks. And so it had this huge exponential growth effect. So sometimes, if that big dream manifestation of, the red Ferrari is not working out for you straight away, then it's okay. You can build up your skills, in the direction of that Ferrari, so to speak. So does that make sense, guys? Does that make things a little bit easier? Does it clear things up? Does it allow you to, relax a little bit more when it comes to creating your futures? And experiencing them now. I think I mentioned this the other day. It's like when you're traveling to a destination, as long as you're on track, you feel good. When you're on track and you're making good time, and you're gonna land at your particular outcome at a certain time and space frequency in your future. When you're on that plane, you can enjoy the plane ride. When you get off the plane and you get in your Uber or your Lyft or your taxi, or you get picked up by friends and family, that, I don't know, it's just this good feeling. It's like, sometimes even when you're tired and all you want to do is sleep, when you know that your bed is waiting for you, it's a great feeling. All right, so I'll just open it up to some more questions, because that's pretty much the basics of that practice. I hope I got that point across, being able to see things unfolding in the right direction now, even though you don't have it yet, or maybe it hasn't arrived in the way that you're expecting yet. And the other thing I noticed, this is just to go with that, is that um, for the guy that wants the red Ferrari, for example, um, he might be in a situation where life will give him stepping stones to be able to be ready for that. So it might be that, I don't know, a friend of his rings up and says, "Hey, I'm traveling overseas. I want you to house sit for me. Water the plants, feed the animals, and by the way, um, you know, I'm leaving my car here. If you need to use it, it's fine. Just look after it, fill it up, change the oil, keep it clean, whatever." And so he goes, "Yeah, yeah, no problem." Has no idea what the car is, gets to the garage. It's not the red Ferrari, but maybe it's a red sports car that is like the stepping stone to the Ferrari. Just like, as kids, we grow up, the boys, we get on our push bikes and we imagine they're motorbikes, and it's our stepping stone to be able to one day get onto a motorbike. And when you get there, you understand the balancing principles, you understand how to, operate a bike in general process. So there you go. There's a lot to use there, and let me just show this again. And let me know when that pops up for you, or something like that pops up for you. All right, guys, if there's no further questions, we'll wrap up there. Thanks for joining me. Hope that takes the pressure off again and brings everything to you a lot quicker and with a lot less effort. And yeah, I know I give a lot to process. I'm sorry. Here you go, packets. Unpack them in your own time, and if you have trouble, let me know what's going on, and I can help you unpack. But half the fun is unpacking it as well. All right, guys. So thanks very much for joining me, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Bye for now.